Welcome into I Said What I Said. I'm Brad Wakai. That's Tyson Gentry. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the week. You know what time it is. It's weekend time, football time, and it's ready to start making some money time. And Tyson, we need it after last weekend.
Yeah, that was the worst week I've ever had on the show. I was trying to rack my brain, remember if I'd had any other offers, not to spoil anything for anybody, but that might have been a first timer for me, Brad, and it was embarrassing all the way throughout, really.
First time with a full slate, because we did go over in week 0.
Yeah, that's true.
We were, that's week 0. We had the itch to bet some college games, but let's show you folks how we did last week before we get into the picks this week. And yeah, like Tyson said, it was a rough one from both of us. I went 4-7, down 3.48 units. Only got Missouri home. That was a smash. Iowa minus 2.5. That was also a rocking chair play. Same with Texas, honestly, minus 14. Ole Miss LSU, mono against Tyson, felt good to get that one home. Same with Texas. So I finally have some wins in my column instead of him dominating like usual on the other side of things. But the bad was really bad. I mean, play of the week, Maryland, they get blown out at home. Cincinnati, UCF, not even close. Turnovers galore, hilarious. Memphis, South Florida, awful read on me going over there. Arizona plus 3.5 against BYU. I ran in front of the train again. Spoiler, it might happen again this week, but Arizona stinks. Tennessee minus 14. They should have lost outright. Washington State, Fresno State over 61. Comedy that honestly that didn't get home, but it wasn't close. And then this one was legit comedy. App State, Louisiana over 64.5. That not getting home was just a dagger in the spleen. So, yeah, well, we've had better weeks, Tyson.
Yeah, I think that's for sure. My play of the week, Penn State, didn't get home, should have bought it down. Ohio State minus 2.5. I should have just taken over the money line. I was talking all that shit preseason. And then I didn't do it. Oklahoma up 3-0 first quarter. We're looking good. All of a sudden the wheels fall off. That thing is not even close. Bowling Green, I'm done with you, Brad. Might not be. Stay tuned. Ole Miss LSU. I needed like 6 overtimes maybe to get here. I woke up that day. I was telling you, I was like, LSU's winning this football game. Another one I just didn't have the guts to do. And then Kansas State minus 3.5. See ya. I can't do it anymore.
Well, Tyson, how about 2 hooks? Penn State minus 3.5, Kansas State minus 3.5. And in college, it's not as prevalent on these key numbers than in the NFL. And you just landed right on the key number. That's the week it was. So with that, folks, before we turn the page, I'm down 8.1 on the year. Tyson's down 8.86 units as a show, 16.96 units. So send us the hate, whatever. I mean, we're, a bad week, but we're one good week away from getting this back on track. And so that's what we're going to try to do with our week 8 college football pick.
It's money-making time.
All right, Tyson. I got the T-box this week on the college front, and I'm going to start off with a Friday game, play of the week, Florida State plus 3, minus 108 on DraftKings. They're facing this Duke team. Duke has overachieved, overperformed. Florida State the complete opposite. But Tyson, they're coming off a bye. Now Duke's also off a bye, but Florida State way better athletes right now than what Duke has. I think this time away has allowed Brock Glenn, who we completely dumped all over during this entire time when they're about to play Clemson. But I think the week off, he understands a little bit more of the offense. This defense has played well for Florida State. And then I think that they'll actually be able to cover. I think they win outright, but I'm going to be safe with the points because, it's Florida State.
Yeah, that was I can't believe you're doing that to yourself. But you didn't have nearly as bad a week as me. So you can afford one more loss, I suppose. How do you bet Florida State? We're going to come on here on Tuesday or whatever. We're going to say Mike Norvell sucks. and you're going to be excited. I don't know. That could hit. I don't know anything. My play of the week, Iowa State minus 13.5. I sat here and talked as much smack about UCF as anybody. Iowa State's actually good at football. They're at home. They're hosting. I think that their defense is fast enough to get after UCF, speed them up, much like the way Florida did. And their offense can really punish people. I'm not scared to see touchdowns here.
Tyson, another Friday night game. Oklahoma State plus 9.5, minus 108 on FanDuel. I am scared to death. This is another BYU fade. I just am in these situations, and it's honestly like we had our prior BYU being bad, and it's not the case. But the problem is here. It's not like I'm chasing being right on BYU. It's just I think the number has gotten too far off, and we're looking at this Oklahoma State team compared to what they were preseason, what BYU was expected to be preseason. And if I would have told you 9.5, Oklahoma State is getting in the situation off a bye against BYU, you would have laughed me out of the room. So there's a quarterback change here. It's no longer Alan Bowman. They did this during the bye week. Now, also, Mike Gundy had a concussion during the bye week, so that's something to monitor. But not his first concussion, this guy, So Garrett Rangel is going to take over, was a 3-star in the 2022 class. He's been here for 3 years, is familiar with the offense. Tyson, no numbers to write home about. 50.9% completions, 1,000 yards passing, 7 touchdowns, 6 picks. But I think could be the guy that gets it done here for Oklahoma State. And when I look at the power ratings, 7.5, 8.6 should be the number here. So I think we're getting an edge there. Give me the points with Oklahoma State.
There's a Gundy spot. That's what we were talking about before the show. I'm going here with Army minus 15.5, hosting East Carolina. It's a bit of a rivalry game. Nobody's been able to slow down this Army rushing attack. I don't think it's going to be East Carolina. This is Army scoring 40 points a game. And I just don't think that East Carolina can keep up. East Carolina might be able to be the first team to slow them down, so to speak. But that might be 225 rushing yards on the ground. East Carolina's not scoring enough points to keep up here. Give me the home team. Give me the points. I'm going with Army.
I'm taking another over in this situation. Arizona State, Cincinnati over 50.5 minus 110 on FanDuel. Now, I targeted Arizona State, Kansas. It was the same number at 50.5. And a lot of the metrics for this Arizona State defense suggested that, they're a solid defense. And I saw Kansas move the ball up and down the field. That thing went over. Arizona State has a really good offense. And I think Cincinnati, even though they went under last week, go look at that game log. The play-by-play is hysterical. Fumble, interception, fumble, interception. I honestly think that's the only reason why we didn't go over. These guys were moving the ball down the field every single time they were knocking. There was a turnover, both them and UCF. So we got to flush that. Let's look at this on a week-by-week basis. Arizona State, their offense is 15th in EPA per rush, 57th in EPA per pass. Going up against a defense that's 21st and 78th in those metrics. So I think it's kind of strength on strength here, but I've seen Arizona State move the ball. I like their offense. On the flip side, Cincinnati, 39th EPA per rush, 30th EPA per pass against a defense that's 11th and 40th, respectively. I'm just not buying these numbers from Arizona State. Like, I've seen them play a lot. I don't think their defense is as good as it looks on paper. But Arizona State's explosive, man. 70th in offensive equal versus a defense that's 54th. Cincinnati, they're 40th. I know Arizona State's 26th in that number, or in that metric, but I like these explosive offenses. I think they put up points here, so I'm going to take the over.
You've been on the Arizona overs so far this season. Brad, one thing that we've both been on is these Friday night home dogs. I'm going with Nevada here to upset Fresno State. I think that Fresno State is probably the third best offense that Nevada's seen so far this season, SMU, Minnesota, right? They just beat Oregon State, a team that has a much better defense than Fresno State. This is a Nevada team that's kind of getting hot a little bit at the right time. They got some positive momentum. They're averaging over 5 yards a carry. All of those things are setting up for maybe a little bit of a sloppy game where the home team takes it down. And we got to go hunt it. I mean, 0-6, we got to start looking for this thing.
Tyson, I'm back at my boys again, man. I'm taking Missouri -4, -108 on DraftKings. Now, they looked great against UMass. Thought that was going to be the get-right spot, and now they're facing this Auburn team. Sure, they're coming off a bye. I don't think they know what their identity is. I mean, are they going to try to throw the ball around the yard? Are they going to be a run-first team? Not quite sure here. And I think if you don't know who you are, that hurts you against Missouri. I mean, we saw Texas A&M. They know who they are. They want to run the football and be able to run play action off of that. That killed Missouri. I think in this situation with the team in between identities, Missouri's going to be able to pounce. This offense finally got clicking. I know they're against UMass, but last weekend. But Tyson, they're 20th in EPA per rush, 39th in EPA per pass. Those are good numbers on that, on kind of taking a look at the EPA side of things. Against a defense, it's 89th and 95th. So it's not a step up in class. It's a step up in athlete, but not in execution. So I think Missouri, after seeing the ball go through the hoop proverbially against UMass, they can come in and take advantage of that. Then Auburn's offense, 94th EPA per rush, 53rd EPA per pass against the defense is 35th in both those categories. Again, not an offense that scares me as much as A&M. So I think Missouri, this is short to me, especially at home.
This is setting up to either be like the biggest change in the way that we've talked about some of these teams after this week, or we're going to start saying, man, I hate all these guys. And one team that I've been wrong about more times than I care to admit this season, I'm taking the Clemson Tigers -20.5, hosting Virginia. it's Dabo versus Tony Elliott, right? Former coach. We know Dabo's record when he goes into these spots. Virginia's defense is only allowing 22 points. That's all everybody's saying. They're allowing 260 pass yards a game. Cade Klubnik hasn't had a ball hit the ground in the month, right? So I think Clemson gets some explosives. They score a lot of points here. We're a little bit afraid of these 3 touchdown numbers when it comes to Clemson. I get in right underneath that. Just make your extra points, please.
Okay, Tyson, here we go. Team that you kind of are like, I think you like these guys. And, well, I'm backing them. Washington State minus 18.5, minus 108 on DraftKings. Now they're facing a Hawaii team who I honestly think they put a lot into that Boise State game. That was close for comfort if you're a Broncos fan there. And it was a late night on the island game. The Boise State Broncos a little sleepy. Hawaii, they played their hearts out. Now they got to come back stateside facing a Washington State team who is electric on offense. 21st in EPA per rush, 22nd in EPA per pass against this Hawaii team, 82nd and the 114th in those defensive metrics. Now, I love Timmy Chang. Like we grew up watching Timmy Chang, him and Colt Brennan out in the island late night, us growing up in Montana. I mean, we love the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. The problem is Timmy Chang ain't playing quarterback for these guys, man. They're 120th EPA per rush, 124th EPA per pass. Just a dreadful offense. And Wazoo gets all the spotlight for their offense. How about being 49th and 43rd in EPA per rush and pass, respectively, Tyson? I don't know how this number doesn't hit. Now, I'm going to knock on wood because we've maybe been a little too cocky coming on these shows based on the last week, but 18.5 power ratings have it at 20.5 and 19 what the spread should be. So got some value on that front. I like Wazoo to roll.
And Wazoo's defense has improved, but the stars are still on the offense. They might just score a billion points here. I said we're going hunting. I'm going for my next 2 here. I'm going with the Louisville Cardinal to upset the Miami Hurricanes. Miami's coming off a bye. Louisville looks horrible, right? Like, this is bad. We don't know what's going on. This is a gut play. I have only ever picked against Miami on this show like 3 times, and it's been the Middle Tennessee State game a couple years ago. I'm blanking on another one. This is it, and none of the times I've had any reason. I just feel like Miami's due to lose a football game, and this is the one.
You only pick against them on the weekly show. Every single season, you're always going under. Which it's getting sweaty again this year. You're double dipping, honestly, because if Louisville pulls this up, you're sitting nice. But, Tyson, we're both having action on this game because I'm taking the over, 59.5 minus 110 on FanDuel. Has anybody been watching these teams the past few weeks? Like, Miami's metrically looks good. I mean, 16th and 10th EPA per rush and pass. Is that what you saw against Cal? I didn't. Is that what you saw against Virginia Tech? No way. And that was a Virginia Tech offense that was struggling going into that game. I think this is easily the best offense that this Miami defense has faced. Now they're coming off a bye. And I'm sorry, Mario Cristobal is not Nick Saban. Mario Cristobal is not any of these elite coaches around the country right now. Like, I think he honestly might have just used it to get more NIL and recruit. Like, did he do anything X's and O's? I'm not sure. But this Louisville offense, 37th EPA per rush, 13th in EPA per pass. We saw Mendoza from Cal shredded all over the field in the first half. So I think this is a spot of Louisville at home that they can take out these guys. I like your lean here. I think they're going to be effective. Then on the other side, Miami offense, I mean, just not a single bad thing you can say about Cam Ward. It's got a couple turnovers here and there, but this offense has been electric. 17th EPA per rush, 4th in EPA per pass. And this is where I think the value is because it's Louisville's 27th in stopping the run on an EPA basis. But Tyson, they're 79th in defending the pass. So I think this is a fireworks show.
I hope so. I hope so. That college football has been so good this year. We'll get into it on our other show. Tune in during the week. This has been an absolutely crazy season, and it's going to get crazier when Georgia goes into Texas and beats the Texas Longhorns. This is a Kirby Smart game. You don't believe in him anymore. I do. It's sitting here at plus 175 on Caesar. I think that Kirby and the boys, they are fired up. They are pissed off. This defense isn't quite the same. The offense isn't quite the same. It doesn't matter. I know that Texas's defense is probably – I've been sitting here saying I think Texas might be the best in the country. These are the ones that Georgia wins. Like, welcome to the SEC. This is where Kirby's had this game circled for a long time. We are here for the Sark takeover, but it doesn't start this weekend.
In the words of the great Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. Texas -5, mano y mano. I'm riding the wave. I've got some momentum last week. Normally Tyson's got my number. Maybe 2024 is different. Now, I'm fully prepared for this to be the classic Georgia game, but I'm laying it with Texas here. I think they're better. Tyson, power ratings-wise, from 2 of the sets I look at, they have it as a 10 and an 11.5-point spread based on what it would be on a neutral, and then going into Texas, and they're getting their home field advantage. That is a monster number, double digits. These are the two best teams in the country in some respects. But, this is the game that Georgia wins? Is Kirby Smart circling? I thought that was the Alabama game. I thought that was what Georgia's been doing in the SEC championship game, and against Alabama, get revenge, and they drop the ball, lay an egg. Now they're facing a Texas team that's better than Alabama. 16th EPA per rush on offense, 3rd in EPA per pass. So Georgia's defense, sure, 6th and 20th in those numbers. We just forgetting what Alabama did to them. They made them look like a peewee team. I mean, they were running up and down the field. It was absurd. Now, Milroe was a huge thing, right? The legs, and Ewers doesn't have that. But if we can operate an offense effectively through the air, maybe there's a little bit of cracks. I think what it's going to come down to, can they get after Carson Beck? For me, Texas, they have to make him feel uncomfortable. Georgia's offense 6th in EPA per rush, 17th in EPA per pass. Texas 9th and 3rd in the country when it comes to that. So they have a solid defense. It's all about, can you cut off the head of the snake and Carson Beck? I think they can. Tyson's back in the old regime and the Bulldogs, and I'm saying let's go burn orange.
And we're getting middled. This is Texas by 2 if I've ever seen it. My next one here, you called me patriotic before the show. That's how I'm feeling. Navy's going to run for 1 billion yards too. They're at home. They're going to take down Charlotte here. This number is sitting at 16.5. I literally was just looking for teams that I want to watch play football and who I think these things can hit the fastest, because these games are going to end the quickest. And I'm going with Navy here at home against Charlotte.
Yeah, it should be interesting. That should be good. I mean, we're setting up for just an epic showdown between the sea troops and the ground troops, man. That's going to be awesome.
For the playoff?
Oh my God. That's going to be epic. So I'm rooting for them to be undefeated going into that. Imagine that. It's just, oh man, the pageantry, just incredible. Tyson, I'll lead off because we're not going mano-a-mano on this play. We're in simpatico, so sometimes that hurts us, but we'll see on this one. I'm taking Alabama, Tennessee over 56.5. It's minus 115 on FanDuel. This is just a gut play, and we kind of talked about it last week of the immovable object versus the whatever force or the immaculate force, and we kind of both butchered it, and it was funny. Hopefully we don't butcher this play. Now, something's got to give here. This Tennessee defense has been really good, but their best player, their leading tackler on defense, is out. He's out for the season. Alabama's offense is incredible. What gives here can Tennessee stop this Alabama offense? Nobody in the country has been able to. And on the flip side, this Alabama defense is bad. But this Tennessee offense has looked like a shell of itself. I mean, it's kind of concerning when we're thinking about this. Nico clearly looks like a freshman. Josh Heupel seems afraid to push the ball down the field. It's strange. Like the Monstars came to Knoxville and took all their powers. It's super weird in that bye week. I don't know what happened. Something's got to give here. I think Tennessee's going to have a hard time slowing down that offense. I think Tennessee's offense gets going against Alabama's defense.
Yeah, I'm on the side with you here. I think what you said is perfect. Do you think there's any chance these teams were looking at each other? At least last week, we won't count the upsets 2 weeks ago. I feel like that's too far out. But I do wonder if there was a little bit of, hey, let's keep this tucked. I want fireworks in this game. I want Milroe versus Nico. This is what I want to watch happen here. And honestly, if this Tennessee offense could run the football, they might be able to score 35, 42 points themselves. And Alabama hasn't shown us they're going to be able to stop a rushing attack like Tennessee's. That's the angle I'm looking at it more so than even Nico's on.
We just know these teams play crazy games too, right? That's the history here. So,
but they end crazy. I don't know if they ended.
That's a good point. Yeah, we'll see. I think we could see some interesting stuff. A lot of points in this one. All right, Tyson. So you're wrapped up. I'll go through kind of what we do, and I don't have many more this week. I pared it down a little bit. A few more teams on a bye, but one that's surely going to piss you off, and I want to get your thoughts on this. I'm taking Bowling Green minus 20.5. That's minus 106 on FanDuel. Now, they burned both of us during the season, so it's hard for us to sit here and be like, we love these guys. No, we actually hate them. But this is a situation. This is a number play. Power ratings-wise against Kent State. Kent State's the worst team in the country by a long shot. They're on their third-string quarterback. Now, they put up a ton of points last week. Actually, one of the best, probably the best bad beat segment Scott Van Pelt's ever done, and Kent State was a featured part of it. Hilarious scene. But the power ratings-wise, 21.5, 27.4. I have a hard time thinking Kent State coming off of that loss that was heartbreaking. Like they had a shot to win, is going to now turn around and go on the road against superior athletes in Bowling Green. When Bowling Green, sure, their offense doesn't look great, 78th in EPA per rush, 55th EPA per pass. But Tyson, they're against a defense that's 133rd and 131st in these metrics. I mean, come on. Kent State's offense, 133rd, 127th. Now, Bowling Green's defense isn't great, 110th, 99th in stopping the run and pass on the EPA basis. But I just have a hard time thinking this Bowling Green team isn't going to lay the wood on Kent State after their heartbreaking loss.
I hope so, but I'll share this with you. The 3 games Bowling Green's covered the spread this year: Fordham, Penn State, A&M. The games they didn't cover were Old Dominion, Akron, and then obviously getting smoked by Northern Illinois at home. This is the weirdest team ever. Like they're right there with Penn State and A&M, and then they can't beat Akron.
Yeah, and we unfortunately have been on the wrong side of a couple of those. But Tyson, this one you're going to love. So I'm playing your Jekyll and Hyde here. Tulane minus 21.5, minus 110 on FanDuel. Now, I'm a little nervous about the hook there. I think there's a chance that comes into play. They're playing this Rice team that, let's just be frank, they're atrocious. I mean, 113th and 89th on defense, stopping the run and pass. Tulane's offense, we know. Tyson talked about them in our reaction pod. This offense is high flying, 45th in EPA per rush, 20th in EPA per pass. They put up points in a hurry. And the defensive side is good. Like John Summerall came over from Troy, and that defense is always pretty good at that level. And he's taking it over to Tulane, 51st and 44th, stopping the run and pass on the EPA basis. Rice's offense, 100th in EPA per rush, 126th in EPA per pass. So I think this one could get ugly in a hurry.
You are better at picking when Tulane's going to actually cover these numbers than I am. I just go at them every week, so you're a little bit more measured than me.
Okay, now this one, I'm nervous. I'm banging my head against the wall. It's North Texas, Memphis over 67.5. Huge number. Memphis has screwed me on this front. They look great for an over team, and every single time I watch them, I'm like, God, they just run the ball too much in these clock. But they're going to get the North Texas team, Tyson. I don't even know if they could stop you and me out there. I mean, it's crazy. Every single time I plug in the North Texas game, right? Maybe, I don't know. Watch them against Memphis, and you may change your mind here. Get a couple of our bar buddies out there. Maybe we're putting up 60. North Texas offense is awesome, so that's one of the reasons why I want to back them in this spot. 42nd EPA per rush, 38th in EPA per pass. Now this Memphis team, they haven't played like very many good teams, and it's been surprised. It's prevented them from covering big numbers, 68th and 85th in those metrics, respectively, Tyson. But the flip side, this is where I think we can get some stuff here. Memphis likes to run the football. They're 29th in EPA per rush. This defense for North Texas, 67th. All right, so I think that's an advantage. Maybe get some explosive plays on that front. And we know it's Seth Hennigan, 89th. How is this 89th EPA per pass? This Memphis team, I'm just like shocked by it. Like it's got to come back full circle at some point. And if it's going to happen, maybe it's against this defense. It's 93rd in the EPA per pass. I don't know. Maybe it's just this offense on the passing side isn't good. They run the ball. I get screwed again. But I think we see points in this one. Well, am I just going insane here?
No, I think North Texas can fly too. That's the other part is they can score on their end too. They're fast. Like they look horrible. I think when most people watch them against Texas Tech, right, they lose by 60 points or whatever that was. But this is an offense with a ton of speed, and Memphis doesn't exactly scare you sideline to sideline on defense.
Last one. Got to do it for the boys. SMU coming out to the West Coast, minus 15.5, minus 115 on FanDuel. They're facing a Stanford team. Now, I like Troy Taylor. He's coming from the FCS level a couple years ago. Tyson knows all about him. It's been a tough transition. You know, Stanford was not in a good spot when David Shaw left, and it's going to take a build here. And SMU is rolling. Kevin Jennings, quarterback switch, has them on the right track. 47th in EPA per rush, 23rd in EPA per pass. SMU's off a bye as well. So, this travel spot, I don't think it's as daunting as if they just got done playing. Stanford 71st and 75th stopping the run and pass. Advantage SMU offense, especially with some wrinkles. Facing a Stanford team that's coming off a big trip in their new ACC schedule. And Stanford offensively, 85th EPA per rush, 121st EPA per pass. not great numbers. You're facing an SMU team that's 8th in stopping the run. Like, they are awesome in that category. And how about 33rd in stopping the pass? I think this could be an ugly game on the West Coast.
And this is you're like Max Muncy or something. Like, you started so cold on SMU this year, and you've just heated up. You can't miss with these guys. I think if there's one play to back, it's Brad and SMU right now, and I was making so much fun of him after week 3.
He was telling me, you're done. You got to his favorite thing to say to me, take your hand away from the stove, and I kept it hovering, and all of a sudden, the house isn't burning down; it's heating us all up.
No oil. I thought you were using oil.
Yeah, I got to that point. But Tyson, I got to say, I was pretty measured this week. I only had 12 plays, which is minimal for what I've been doing, but I couldn't get there on before our show. But I think I may add a couple more. I'm not quite sure. Where can they find those plays?
Discord. It's in the description if you want to just click the link there. It's the group name, as I said what I said. Tons of different channels in there. We'll let you write in or send an invite if you comment on the video or whatever else. So I went 0-6, Brad, on our show picks, but we both gave out some pretty massive parlays in the Discord this weekend. So although we lost in some of these, we ended up making some good money this weekend. And those picks are only in the Discord. That's the only spot you're going to find them. We're not the only one. We had somebody go 10-0 in there this week with their NFL picks. It's a good time right now. Guys are catching baseball parlays. Hockey stuff is rolling. Brad has soccer. Brad's betting soccer games in countries I've never even heard of, people. So hop right in the Discord. It's a good time.
Like, subscribe, and share the show on the way out, folks. You guys know the drill by now. If you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button. Listen in podcast form. Give us 5 stars. Helps us out. All that good stuff. Stay connected with us if you'd like on our socials. Share it with your friends. Share it with your enemies, however it goes. Just make sure you are subscribed so that when we have content coming out for you the entire football season, it goes in your feed, whether it's YouTube or podcast. We're back NFL, giving you picks on that front. We've been a little bit more successful, at least Tyson has there. So I think we're starting to heat up on the NFL gridiron. So stay tuned for that. That's coming out later. We'll speak to you guys then. Peace.